Welcome to Bite Size Dental Marketing. Today I have Ken and Tudor. Ken and Tudor are dental students out of Montreal. They're going into general practice and they have a great story to tell. It's around the Tooth Tone Club. And, as we get older, as we get into our various industries, staying healthy is a huge deal. And, you know, these young men are out there trying to make a difference. Ken and Tudor, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having
It,
us.
it, thanks for taking the time. Tell me the backstory. How'd you guys get started? How'd you meet?
Basically, both went to McGill, did our undergrads there. Had some mutual friends that connected us as we both joined our first year at McGill Dental School. So inevitably, characters aligned, interests were there. He's great at jokes. I love to laugh to them as well. And naturally, the chemistry was strong from the get-go. And then with time, I think my interests and his aligned, especially in terms of physical health, wellness, and, personal training. And overall, I think Tudor actually came up with the idea of trying to give back and help those who are young dentists, older dentists, to basically adopt a healthier lifestyle and approach to that, and basically trying to promote longevity in dentistry.
Yeah, pretty much as he said. I think dentistry is very much a physical sport. And to obtain this physical level, we need to do something besides just the dentistry in our own personal lives to upkeep this physical ability. So whether it be weightlifting or Pilates or yoga, just something to really keep the muscles strengthened and to ensure a long career in dentistry. So I've noticed like my colleagues, even in dental school, and we're only in like 2 years of clinical training and already they're having pain. So you can only imagine in 20, 30 years, that's just going to accumulate. So I think there needs to be a bigger emphasis on like the physical aspects of dentistry, whether it be through dental school, but also what we're doing. So we hope to improve the field of dentistry through this initiative and continuing educational content on our page.
Now, on the pre-show, we were mentioning some ergonomics, and I know that they talked to you about that through dental school. Where do you hope to take it beyond just the ergonomics?
I think it's a very interesting point because a lot of the ergonomics we're taught are very straightforward, as in keep your head straight, upright, and shoulders back and chest proud, And beyond that, there isn't much discussion as to like the optimal angles of your arms or your legs and hips. And there's a lot going on, as Tudor said. It's a sport. You're constantly moving around. You're never just in one position. And if you are, you might be there for a while, but then you have to change positions inevitably. And I think it's about fortifying the body in the long term for what's to come. And that's where we had the discussion amongst ourselves on the notion of there should be efforts beyond just, head straight and good posture. We have to strengthen the body, especially through, our back muscles, for example, our core, and also just to enhance our ability when it comes down to things like, scaling and root planing. There's a lot of effort that's required. And oftentimes our bodies aren't prepped for that. So it becomes a burden.
Yeah, but just like even just keeping your shoulders back, there's muscles that are involved in that. You need that strength to even hold those postures that are ergonomic. So just that requires a baseline physical activity and maintenance. But also like you don't need to be a world-class athlete to do dentistry, for sure not. But just having, the tools to have a bit of strength where you need it, especially in the upper back, lower back muscles, that's the key.
Now, when you think about exercises that you wish dentists would do, give me the top three. What are they deadlifting?
Well,
are we
I think for
doing
the
Pilates?
first question, because there's so many that come to mind right now, and I just want to, split them all out. But I think the first thing is stretching. A lot of people lack the ability to mobilize their bodies and throughout the whole range of motions. So the first thing I think is that's most important that we can all do realistically is to stretch more. Beyond which, I think it's important to strengthen the upper back, because oftentimes we're reaching forward, we're bent over, and we have a nice, rainbow going on in our upper back. And I think strengthening the rhomboids, so any kind of pulling motion towards yourself, such as your chest level, can be very beneficial for strengthening those muscles. And then when it comes down to the third one, I would say a lot of core work too. So the core is not just your abs. Oftentimes we think of core as just, the obliques on the side, the things in the front that show, but there's a lot that goes around. When you think of the human body, we have an upper torso and our hips. But between that, we have our spine, which is kind of like a spring. Without all those muscles in between, it would flop to one side to the other carelessly. So strengthening those muscles all around circumferentially are super important. So things like the plank would be a great example to help them.
But beyond just the exercises, because it doesn't really matter if you do an exercise once in a blue moon, it's the consistency. So finding a way to implement them, at least on a weekly and ideally between every couple of days, that's the real key, I think, to any physical plan you put into place.
Yeah, I know for me, the heaviest weight in the gym is the front door.
And like at the end of the day, like he said, like it's not a question of
Very
like
true.
a magical recipe or one solution that's going to fix all. You know, if you have a patient who's got like a comprehensive mouth rehab to be doing, it's not going to be one thing, right? There's a lot going on that's going to help them achieve their final goal. And for us too, it's not like, you know, one stop shop. We have to make a concerted effort to constantly take care of ourselves and maintain our health and well-being, not just physically, mentally as well. But that's where we're coming down to consistent efforts throughout the week, whether small, big, in between. Just making that concerted effort can go a long way in the long run.
Now, when you guys were ideating on this, you know, did you just fall out of bed and were already fit, or you know, tell me?
I think he was, not me.
I think we all start somewhere along, you know, the road there and just try to find the basic knowledge at first. I remember, I think I started at the end of high school trying to do crunches in my bed. Of course, terrible posture. I was doing curls with tens and of course, not going for a full range of motion. And with time, I think I learned how to do things properly through self-education, through workshops, through certifications. And with time, I also learned from my friends too, you know, and I think we all start our journey with what we have. The tools are in our luggage here, right? And it's just about trying to better them one step at a time. And as long as we find a place where we're happy, we're comfortable, listen, every brick counts.
Yeah. And I think just to go back to what you mentioned, that the gym door being the heaviest, like that's a great saying I hadn't heard before, but it helps that, you know, we're two people going through the same kind of journey. So it really helps to see people doing the same things as you, because it's easy to go on social media and see like some world-class athlete, but that's their main job. You know, they have all day to do that. But it's much more difficult to implement it on an already busy schedule. And Ken especially has the tools to educate people on like how to implement fitness within a busy schedule. I think that's the key. Just finding ways you can implement small changes into an already busy schedule with dentistry, which we know is very tiring both mentally and physically, and very demanding in terms of hours worked. So I think that really helps to be able to see other people doing the same thing. And I think there's not as many people who you can look up to for that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when you think about, you know, graduating soon, obviously you're going to be getting to practice. Where are you going to take the two-tone club? Where do you see it? You know, what's your vision here of where to take it?
Well, firstly, we're going to continue educational content. That's the key, because I think everyone can extract something from it, and just even little pieces of advice on different stretches, different physical strengthening exercises. So we're going to continue that. We're going to continue doing fitness events in our area as well as different cities. So we did a run in Montreal already, which was a lot of fun, and people came out, a lot of dental students, and it was a lot of fun. And I think they all had a nice morning of physical activity, which they might not have had otherwise. So we'll continue that. We might have an event in Toronto soon as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. And besides that, we would love to collaborate with like continuing education retreats in which we can implement some kind of fitness training and boot camps at those retreats for people, because there's already going to be a big group of dental professionals there. So we'll be able to really target and help educate the people there through these big continuing education trips. I think that's the main vision in the future.
Now, have you thought about how you're going to balance this when you start seeing your own patients and,
Sorry, challenge.
you know, doing some back tooth
Right now,
endo? Yeah.
Right now, we're trying to do bite-sized pieces, just like we're asking our fellow colleagues to do bite-sized pieces out of the stuff we're giving them. Now, Right now, the goal is just increasing awareness, education. Thereafter, trying to give them some tools to help themselves. Right now, we're doing some posts with regards to stretching, some strengthening exercises, and in the forthcoming future, we hope to have an ebook coming out, which would include stretches, exercises, and healthy habits implement into your daily work routines. That would hopefully, carry over to a healthier work-life practice and also perhaps more productivity and more prevention being employed. And then
Now,
in the longer run, that's where things like, the continuing education might be helpful, or even events in our local communities that would just bring people together.
now, when you think about the day of a dentist, obviously they like to optimize their time toward productive behavior, right? And 4 days a week, some five. How do you see them fitting in what you're asking? Are you asking for 30 minutes a day at the gym? Or are you asking for implement something in the daily huddle, some stretching? Like, give me the dream day, right? Of a
I'm glad you kind
practicing
of already alluded
dentist.
to one of them. A lot of dental practices, beginning of the day before all the patients arrive, usually there's a 30-minute period or 15-minute period whereby we're going through the list of the patients for the day, what's the plan of action, who's doing what, work is being delegated. Taking maybe 5 minutes of stretching, stimulating blood flow before we jump into that can be beneficial for just increasing everyone's sense of awareness, much like a coffee would, providing some blood flow to all their working limbs as well as their head, and then also jumping therefore into your daily agenda for what's to be expected. Now, when it comes to your day, your work day, which involves anywhere between 6 to 10 patients, sometimes more, depending on the workload, it's hard to ask someone to truthfully do exercises between all that, right? Like, that's not realistic to tell them to just pop a squat between each of their patients who are waiting for them in the chair. Now, when it comes to that, I think it's important to recognize that small conceded efforts go a long way. So perhaps as you're going from chair to chair, take a second, take a sip of water. So many of us forget to do so. Do 1 or 2 stretches against the wall, just to take a breath, bring down the cortisol, slow down the heart rate, and then walk into the room calmly before jumping to the next task. And if you can, at the end of the day, if you have some energy left, maybe taking time for 3, 4 at-home exercises you could do that wouldn't hopefully be too overbearing on your work schedule or your energy levels.
No, that was perfect, man. I think helping to teach people how to incorporate those into their pattern. And obviously, the dream would be all of us spend 2 hours at the gym every day. But I'll tell you, for me, and I'm not a dentist, but between my day job and being a father and being a husband, it was not a joke, man. That door is the heaviest weight in the gym for me. But I like how you articulated how to incorporate that, and it was really nice.
I went to a few clinics while shadowing during my last year, and one of the clinics had basically the staff during their 45-minute lunch break just go outside and just go for a walk around the block while catching up and talking. And they still had time to eat, but they said, this is our daily thing. We like our walks as long as it's not raining outside, the sun's out. Let's take time for some vitamin D, for some socialization, bring the stress down, get some steps in, and then back to eat.
Gentlemen, very well said. Given that dentistry is well, not my bread and butter, the dentists are, and the longer they practice and the more healthy they practice, obviously the better off the entire industry is. And if you want to learn more about Ken and Tudor, please go to toothhomeclub.com, Google them. Easy to find on Instagram and other places. And how would you like someone to get in touch with you? And what how are you working today?
So social media, Instagram primarily is the best way. You can send us a direct message on there. We also have a website, toothtoneclub.com, and we have a contact us section. And also, Ken does one-on-one coaching to implement fitness in your busy schedule, specifically tailored for dental professionals. That's also on the webpage. So we'll answer any questions on there, and we'd love to collaborate. Or if you have any questions, we're very open-minded and we'll answer them all on there.
That about sums it up.
Guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.